Well, thank you for letting me come here to speak. I think this is a really exciting project. It's a first of its kind for the equine industry, let alone the thoroughbred industry, trying to bring together the challenges of climate change and thoroughbred breeding. So we have been working with the Thoroughbred Breeders Association to develop a carbon calculator that will help you as breeders to understand the climate impact of your production systems, but it also has that added benefit of being able to identify where you've potentially got areas where you might be able to make some cost savings and where there's areas you might be able to optimise your system. So I think it will potentially have a dual benefit to you, especially as we move into the later phases of this tool and you can start benchmarking and understanding. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a guided tour of what the tool looks like. But if you want to see more of this tool, then my colleague Sola is here and we are going to be showing a demonstration live of the tool in the drinks room. So please do come and speak to him. I'm just showing you some static bits, but he can actually show it to you working. So we're going to look at why we've created the stud farm carbon calculator, what the calculator looks like, and then who can use it. So, I mean, there's all sorts of different reasons for doing this, but there is a UK government policy that says we're going to achieve net zero by 2050. And somehow, we as an industry need to get our heads around how we're going to do that. I mostly spend my time working in agriculture with cows and sheep and crops and things. And they're quite a way ahead. I mean, they still could do with doing more work. They're quite a way ahead in terms of the thinking, etc. And really, for us in the equine industry, we need to be looking at what we're doing to understand where our hotspots are, because it's very difficult to manage something if you don't know what it is you're managing. So the idea behind the calculator is to help you to identify where your hotspots are, and then based on those, you can start to think about, well, what am I going to do about it? So we did an early pilot study with the TBA a couple of years ago, which identified some of the challenges around measuring carbon on farms. And based on that, we have then started to develop this carbon calculator, which will be an online platform that you can access through the TBA website to actually go in and measure your footprint. So what does it look like? So the text is a little bit small, I do apologise. But this is what the front page looks like. So you'll be able to set up your stud farm on there. And those of you who have the fortune to have multiple holdings, multiple locations, you can do more than one within your account. You can then create multiple assessments per holding. So each year you can build upon the first assessment that you did and create new ones to see how you're progressing over time. And you can also do some scenario modelling, and that's where I think the tool becomes most useful, because you can say, what if? If I change something on my farm, if I do something differently, what impact will it have on my climate impacts going forwards? So there is a navigation bar within the tool that helps you move through the different areas that are relevant to the carbon calculation within the tool. And then this is what the tabs look like. So within each part of the navigation bar, you'll get a series of boxes that appear, a little bit of information about what we're looking for, and then you'll have drop-down menus that you can select things from, and you'll pop some data in. And this is a little bit of data that's been put in there to help you see what it looks like. So we're looking here at the land area because we need to understand what land you have on the farm and how you manage things like nitrogen fertilizers. And you can enter all that data in there and it will be captured by the tool. We've got various navigation features on there that allow you to move around to the tool. So we've got arrows to open up more detail. We've got plus signs that allow you to put more in. So if you use 2 different types of fertilizer, you can hit the plus and it will allow you to enter another one. But if you don't put 2 in, then it won't give you all the mess on the screen, so you get lost. We then also put in, developed a way to capture the horses. And one of the things that came up in the pilot study was the fact that, of course, some of these stud farms have got lots of movements of horses. And it's not like an arable farm where we might have a batch of cattle come in, they spend 6 months there and then they disappear off again. We've got a lot more movements that we need to deal with. So we've tried to develop the tool in such a way that you can have different batches of horses that are present for different amounts of time to enable us to actually, at the end of the day, all we need to know is how many horses were present for how many days on the farm. But we've tried to make it as easy as possible for you to enter the data that you have. So again, we can see here how we're entering that data. So you can select the group of mares, a group of animals that you're looking at. So here we've got pregnant mares with foals at foot. You can put how many animals you have, the amount of time they're present on the farm, and then we're looking at management type. And the main reason for needing to understand management type is actually we just want to know where they're putting their feces and where they're putting their urine, because that's what causes your emissions. So that's the main reason for having those management types. So we've got different amounts of turnout versus housing. And then at the end, you will have a results screen. This isn't actually the one from the tool, because when I put the slides together, we still haven't quite got that right. The actual tool is due for launch on the 20th of November, so there's a few little bits that are being crafted at the moment. But that results sheet will enable you to see where your hotspots are, what the key sources of emissions are on your farm, and then you'll be able to go in there and start to think about what you can do. And as we start to get a volume of information, so we need you guys to fill it in once it's launched, once we've got enough stud farms in there, we can then start creating a benchmarking facility so you can start to see how your emissions per horse per day or per hectare or whatever unit you wish to look at it on compares to your peers. And you can start to think, oh, well, why am I using more electricity, or why am I using more feed than my peers? So you can start to think about how you can reduce your emissions. So who can use the calculator? Well, it will be available free to TBA members via your member login. It's really suitable for anybody within the stud farm industry, so whether it's the owners, the managers, your individual staff, your sustainability representatives on farm. So, and as I said, we're expecting a beta launch in the autumn, so that will just have the basic calculator and not the benchmarking facilities, because we need data before we can benchmark. So I hope that gives you a good flavour for what the calculator will look like. I've had a huge amount of help and input from the TBA in developing this, so we're really hoping that this will give you something that is useful to you as stud farms. Thank you very much.